want to get like land.
Yes.
That's like my main priority. I don't want to live in the city. I don't want to live where there's too much like things going on. I want my kids to be able to ride bikes and scrape their knee, you know? I want acres of land, and that's primarily why I am so focused on working now, because when I do...
This is the CLIMACO podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the CLIMACO podcast. My guest today is Sapphire ACHILLES. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. Very happy to have you here.
Very happy
We've been
to be
planning
here.
this for a little bit. I'm really glad that we finally got you into South Florida.
Yeah.
How's your flight over here?
It was good.
Yeah.
It was smooth. I got a whole road to myself. Felt bad and bougie. You know?
Very cool.
Yeah.
So tell me, where are you from?
Originally, I'm from like the DMV area.
Okay.
Like Maryland, Virginia.
Got it.
But background is South African and Malaysian.
It's a very interesting mix.
Right.
And I can see that in your face.
Yeah.
I can see that a little bit of
You should see
Asian,
when
a
I
little
get
bit.
the afro out.
Yes.
Crazy.
Who's who in your family?
My father is the Malaysian one. My mother's South African.
Where do they meet?
They actually were online playing like some sort of Scrabble game. Believe it or not.
Really?
And they were like, I don't know, because my father's the Asian one, so I don't know what kind of, I guess he brought out his smarts and
Yes.
just like rizzed her up.
That's very cool.
Yeah, but it is very interesting looking at the dynamics of the cultural background of where my parents kind of grew me up in, versus being first generation American.
Right.
Just, looking at how everyone lives.
They eventually met where? In America?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very cool. Do you have any siblings?
Yeah, I have a sister.
How old
I
is
have
she?
a sister. She's 15.
And you are?
I'm 21.
You are 21. You're a baby.
Yeah, I am. Right?
You're just
I feel
starting
like an
out.
old person though. My back.
Do you?
Yeah. it's
Why
going
does your back
crazy.
hurt?
I think it's because of my job. Because
Yeah.
I sit for 13 hours.
Yeah.
If I'm not in the data center, it's like an IT job, so it's definitely.
Okay. How'd you get into IT?
Politics, actually. My father works for Microsoft, but I was doing a networking event, and I was just kind of talking and this, that, and the third, and I met some people that were in the higher up in the government, and they were kind of just like, "What's your passion?" Da, 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 da. I was like, "Well, I always really loved to hack."
That's really
And,
cool.
yeah, I got into government jobs.
I have an IT background as well. I was an IT director for, 7 years of my life.
Okay.
Climbing up those ladders, I got, CCNA certified, C plus? No, not C plus. Whatever. All these little certifications from Microsoft and from programming. It shows you how long it's been for me that I've left that world. It's been about 8 years for me since I began my entrepreneurship journey. But I also love tech. I love IT. I love the freedom that technology provides, right? You can be so creative in a completely different way.
I think you could be creative up until you stretch the limit of when the higher ups start saying, okay,
That's very true.
We don't want you to talk about that.
That's very true.
Yeah.
So how does your job combine politics and IT? How does it do that?
I think just knowing people, I think when it comes to government, like any government job,
Yeah.
any job working for the state or whatever the case may be, I think it's all about who you know that will either promote you, make you like leave, all of that stuff. I think it's really just making sure you're in the right circles. But that's really with anything, right?
Right.
But especially with the government, you have to be approachable.
Yeah.
And if you're not, you have to be respected. I think that's the key factor.
That's true. How's the environment in DC right now?
Well, it's horrible. It's absolutely atrocious.
What do you mean by horrible? Go deeper.
Well, people are, it's everywhere, but people are miserable.
Are they really?
Yeah, they are. There's
Are they not happy with what happened?
I don't think they are.
Yeah.
But I feel like you can make the most out of any situation.
For sure.
It just depends on your mindset.
Yeah.
But people are just, I don't know. They're
Mourning?
sad. Yeah, well, yeah, I guess. Well, I feel like they were miserable before. They're just using this as a crutch.
This just gives them another excuse, right?
Yeah, right. So, yeah.
Where do you sit in this political line?
Like, yeah, I think
If you want to share.
I voted for Trump. Yep.
Why? So did I, by the way.
Okay.
So did I. I voted for Trump as well.
I have a lot of family members that are definitely hammering me. A lot of people that are, and I don't get into politics too well because I'm not 100% educated as I'd like to be.
Right.
But I do know one thing, that when mainstream media tends to attack a certain party, they're probably doing something right.
Right. I know what you mean.
It's that, and it's the approach too. When you approach something in a way that is either wishy-washy versus real or like just raw, you respect raw. Even though you might not like it, you might not like the delivery.
It's real. It's
but
the truth.
It's there.
Yeah.
So
I like that answer a lot.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people made the same decision you made for the same reasons.
Yeah.
I heard from a lot of Democrats also that they felt that Kamala was being pushed down their throat. That she just came out of nowhere. She didn't really do any primaries, right? She was just completely replaced. They took out Joe and put her in, and expected everyone to be okay with that.
Yeah. I'm not exactly sure how everything worked, because I know it all works and like everybody's like a team, right?
Right.
But
They're supposed to be a team, right?
Yeah. That's what we try to accomplish.
Yes.
But when it comes to like just like the different parties and everything, I do think that people weren't ready. Yeah. Not for that. It's too wishy-washy. But I will say I don't agree with everything that he says. So
Same.
There's a lot of things I'm like, all right,
Same.
you gotta chill a little bit,
I know what you mean.
But
overall, he provides the right energy that I think America needs.
Yeah.
The right leadership.
Out of the two.
Yeah, exactly. Of the two choices,
Yeah.
exactly. I think that's the other problem, right? That we only have two choices.
Yeah, that's really bad.
There should be more parties. There should be other options.
I will say this is my first time voting too, but I will say one other thing or factor that definitely led me towards that party was the health about it. Like when Kennedy came in and like started trying to say about the water, about the food, all of that stuff.
Fluoride
I'm
and all that.
actually I'm very particular about that stuff, like health message, like all the way.
For sure.
So that was also one thing.
Yeah. Would you have voted for RFK if he was still running for president?
That I will have to say I don't know. I haven't done enough research to speak on it. How about you?
Probably not.
Okay.
Probably still would have been Trump.
Why?
I think Trump embodies more of my values, and also business-wise.
Okay,
right?
Values
in America first, value in traditional family, value in two genders, value in keeping men out of female sports, value in securing the border. And I'm an immigrant. I was born in Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
I came to America when I was 7 years old. But I do think that some limitations are required, right? The border was wide open for 4 years. Yeah. I don't think it should be completely shut, but I don't think it should be wide open, right? So I think in order to get to the middle, we've first got to go to the other extreme, shut it down completely, and then find the middle ground of where that is. Okay. So I do think that because of those values, I align more with Trump.
Okay.
Yeah.
I understand. Yeah, the two genders one and the schools and all of that stuff.
Yes.
That was a big one for me too.
Yeah, I agree.
Like really big one.
I mean, it got crazy.
Yeah.
It got to the
crazy.
point. Yeah, I think Facebook at one point had 72 different genders.
What? Damn.
Yeah. There was some crazy like
This
that.
is
Like
wild.
it's wild. Like bro, it's male and female.
Yeah.
Like
And they were pushing it on the kids as well. I think that
Yes.
was a big thing. That
yes,
was a
having
no-no for
drag
me.
queens and school shows
Yeah.
and things like that. Like there's no need for that.
Yeah.
You know?
Nickelodeon and everything. It's just like pride.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a little bit too much.
It's a lot too much.
It's a lot too much.
It's a
I
lot
agree.
too much.
I agree. And what I think is so interesting is that it's such a small percentage of the population, and they want to shove it down everyone's throat.
I don't know. I feel like small percentage like of America, I feel like there's a lot more now than, especially with the on the fence people.
Yeah.
If you include like the lukewarm people.
The lukewarm,
Yeah, those are
the curious people.
yeah. I feel like those fall into the same. You're either, I feel like it's a little more black or white. It's
Yeah.
not really.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a rainbow.
Yeah, I know. And that's one thing I have a problem with.
Me too. They
The-
stole the rainbow.
The rainbow is supposed to be like a
They
sign
stole
of
the
God.
rainbow.
Like,
Yes,
the purpose.
I agree.
It was just
That pissed me off too. They completely stole the rainbow. Like, bro, like, can we share it? Like, you guys just took ownership of it.
I know.
You know?
Yeah.
And like, I think I'm so programmed to see the rainbow as attached to the gay community that whenever I see on Instagram someone put the rainbow emoji, I have to do a double
Associate
take
it.
and really try to see like, what are they saying? Do they actually mean a rainbow, or are they doing some gay pride? You know, which both are okay. I'm trying to figure out which one is it. You know, but anyway, why are you working IT for 13 hours? Let's go into that.
Well, it's a full-time job, but I actually really like the schedule for the job in itself because I only work like Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday.
Okay, how
And
many
it's
hours?
Full-time, 13 hours.
Oh, okay, got
Every
it. Each
other
day, that's
Wednesday
crazy,
is
okay.
like 8 hours every other Wednesday.
So you're working from what time to what time?
6 to 6:30.
Wow.
Yeah.
What do you do for them exactly? Support, database?
I'm not exactly allowed to go into it.
Got
but
it.
It's like an engineer job.
Okay.
Security
Got it.
wise.
That's incredible.
Yeah. I'm the youngest that's working there. So
That's pretty cool.
pretty cool.
That is
yeah,
pretty cool.
It's definitely an accomplishment. 1 out of 2 women in the field that I'm in. So
Where do you see that going for you?
nowhere.
Okay.
I hope my dog doesn't see this, but nowhere.
Tell me why.
I don't think that it's my passion. It's
What is
not
your
something
passion?
that I really like doing. I like talking to people. On the side, I'm a model, barber.
I was going to say, you should be on stage modeling.
Thank you.
I mean, you really shouldn't be behind the desk for 13 hours.
Yeah,
You should be behind the camera, on stage, you know?
Yeah, I think my passion is definitely just talking to people, relating to them, empathizing with them, and understanding them. I think that when I started podcasting and I started modeling, it was solely based off of the time that I grew up in the barbershop, just listening to men, understanding who they were and how they were able to, just get the mindset that they were in. And then
Tell
as
me
a
why you
woman-
grew up in a barbershop.
I was on my own since about 14, 15 years old.
Okay.
And I was, my first year of high school, I went with these 2 seniors to this barbershop. There was a nail salon and a barbershop, which both went in either one. There was a girl and a guy. And I decided to go in the barbershop. And I sat down, doing my homework, and then
You just opened the door and sat down and...
because
Cool.
there was like a seating area.
Okay.
And I went back the next day, just did my homework, and I felt a sense of like protection in a way. I think it's because I lacked it at the time.
Yeah.
But then they started keeping me accountable. Did you do your homework today? Did you do your homework today? Like, stop messing around.
They welcomed you in and took you in.
Yeah, and it became more like a family.
Yeah.
Then I started sweeping. I started shadowing
That's
them,
incredible.
and I started
That you
cutting.
just found the place where you felt safe and they welcomed you in and you just kept going day after day.
It was. And I think it was a big learning experience too.
Yeah.
Because at the time, the world will try to shape you into the type of woman that is so modernized,
Yeah.
so entitled, and so
Right.
like self-seeking.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that that's the point that us women should be catered to.
What is the point?
I think we need to understand how to give more than take. I think there's too many takers in this world. And when you learn how to understand and reevaluate your mindset and say, hey, like, this is not about me. This whole idealism that people are saying, oh, just focus on yourself. Like, put yourself first. Though you should understand that health and health is wealth,
right?
We should also understand that giving is like above everything else.
For sure.
I should lay my life down for you. I should lay my life down for this person, that person. Even if they're a stranger, I would do that. And people would say, oh, that's too much. It's too much. But no, because if I could save somebody else, I already know I'm saved. But if I can give somebody else the chance to do that too, or just to understand, like, hey, I might not know you, but I still love you. I think when people understand that, they're like, wow, like, it's not really like seen in this world before.
How do you know that you're saved, and where did this understanding come from at 21 years old?
That's a good question. I feel like I dealt with a lot of things when I was younger, and it was just like trial and tribulation. I've been homeless. I've been, in my car, like sleeping in my car during high school. Like, I didn't really have a home. I spent a lot of time house hopping and trying to avoid just like really weird people who let me live there and stuff like this. And I asked God, I said, well, I don't want to just say that I believe in you. I want to know that. And I think he took his hand off of me for a little bit. And I've been clinging to the cross ever since. I'll never admit that I'm perfect, because I'm not. And I'll never admit that I can even get to that point. I'm going to sin every day, small or big. I think all sin is the same. But I think it's the understanding of knowing who Jesus is. He said, I am the way, the truth, and the light. No one can get to the Father except through me. And I think that is the key.
Do you know where the word sin comes from?
What?
Comes from archery, from bow and arrow. So back in the day, when they used to miss the mark, they called it a sin.
Educate me.
So a sin is really to miss the mark, to miss the point, to not get it, right? To not understand that life is not about you, it's about being of service, right? So I do agree with you. I think a lot of us do sin every day. I think a lot of us do miss the point. We miss the mark every single day, right? And I think kind of like meditation, I think the point is to realize it and bring yourself back, right? Understand that, yes, I'm not perfect. I made a mistake. How do I fix it? How do I change it? How do I be better tomorrow?
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's really what life's about, right? And I think that's beautiful that you at 21 understand that, and you feel that your cup is so full that you have enough to share with others.
Yeah. I think smart people learn from their own mistakes, and wise people learn from the mistakes of others.
Yeah.
And I think I'm able to listen and grasp what people are teaching me enough to say, like, I can share this with the world.
Tell me, why were you homeless at 14, 15? What happened at home, if you don't mind getting into that?
Well, there was a protective order against one of my family members, so I was unable to stay at my house for a little bit. It was a few years that lasted. I stayed with another family member at the time, but they didn't really want me staying there.
Got it.
After the first, like...
Was it just you, or you and your sister?
It was just me.
Just you.
Yeah.
Got it.
And so I left that home. I went to a different one, but I didn't like that one either. So I ran away.
This was all in the DC area?
Like Maryland, DC. And I was house hopping I went to over like 15 homes.
Wow.
And there was
in a span of how long?
A span of like 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah. And
so you're like 14 to 17?
Yeah, around there. And I was just kind of just going places. Probably like 14 to like 19.
Wow.
I was house hopping. I got a little more stable after, you know, the more that I.
Yeah, the older you got.
But I would make like deals for stay, like, hey, I know I don't have a job right now since I'm in school, but if you let me stay here, I'll meal prep for you. I'll do this for you. I'll do that for you. You know,
You hustled.
I learned the value in leveraging
Yes.
the things that you know how to do.
Right.
I knew how to cook. That's one thing I was like, I got this. I knew how to cut hair. Free haircuts for life. Like, it was just things like that.
That barbershop
like,
experience.
You know?
Yes.
It was things like that. You learn the power of networking. Like, network really is your net worth.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Wow. You're powerful.
Man.
Oh.
Give it all to God.
You sit here in front of me. I feel your energy. I feel that you feel very blessed, very at peace, very confident of yourself. And that's beautiful, knowing what you went through. Where do you pull that from?
God, it's all God. It's God, and it's understanding that being humble is important. Knowing that as soon as you put yourself on a pedestal, he can take it all away from you. It's like a stock run. Like I look at the market nowadays, and it's so volatile.
Yes.
But
It's crazy, right?
Yeah, but that's exactly how life can go. You can just feel like you're just living the life, and then one day it's all gone.
Yeah.
So learning to appreciate the small things is really important. And I think that's where I get my joy. I don't care about, the big things, the materialistic things, the worldly things. Like, I need maybe one good friend, God, and just knowing people are good. Are you safe? Are you healthy? All right, cool. We're good.
You married, single?
Nah, I'm single right now.
Kids? No kids?
No kids.
Do you want kids?
I want 7 kids.
You want 7
like
kids?
7 plus kids. 7's like the minimum. Maybe I'll compromise on like 5.
You want 7 plus kids?
I want a lot of kids.
Okay, out of everyone in this room right now, I'm the only one that has kids.
Okay, how was that experience
I
for you?
have 2 kids.
Okay.
Okay.
You like it?
I wanted 4.
Okay.
Swore I wanted 4.
And
I
then?
want 4 kids. Now my wife is like struggling to get another one. You know, she's been like begging me for at least a year for
why
another
not?
one. I think 2's enough.
Okay.
I got
Is
a
it like their
5-year-old.
energy or?
It's a combination of things. Okay.
Okay.
You're gonna laugh, but it's all in the minor details. I got 2 boys, a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old. Okay. My 2-year-old is at the perfect age right now where we can travel, we can go out, you know what I mean?
Right.
He's no longer like a baby. He can walk, he can speak a little bit, you know? So to start that all over, pregnancy is about 10 months, right? And then for my wife to get her body back is another 2.5 years, give or take.
2.5?
Give or take, it's about 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it's rough. The more kids you have, the older you are, the rougher it is to get your body back, right?
So I got to start now then.
But also, 2 kids is the perfect number. Like, if I have a 3rd kid, I have to get a bigger car.
Yeah.
If I have a 3rd kid, I have to get a new house because I need a new bedroom.
So you have like a whole bedroom for 1 kid. Why can't they share
So
one?
they currently do share a room.
Oh, okay.
My 2 little
Okay,
ones,
got you.
right? But I'm gonna need a room for the older one, so then I'll make the little one share with the new one, right? So it's
Got you.
these dynamics that you got to think of, right? Could it be done? Yes. Am I making excuses? Of course,
understand.
but I do think I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm happy. I have my 2 boys. Life is good. I don't think I need to fix what's not broken. You know?
I understand.
But 7, a good friend of mine has 6. He
How's he
has
living?
a 14-year-old boy, a 12-year-old girl, a 10-year-old boy, a 8-year-old boy, a 6-year-old boy, and a 2-year-old girl.
So almost every 2 years.
Just
for-
about almost every 2 years,
Okay.
except the last 2.
Okay.
It was a 4-year gap.
Okay. Love it for them.
Yeah.
On one off. Is he happy?
Extremely.
Oh.
He loves
good
it.
to go then.
He loves it. But it's not easy.
Oh, I never planned for it to be.
You know, he has 2 buses for cars.
Damn.
You know, his wife the other day, he came to visit me last week. He lives in Houston. He was here. We were shooting some content together. And his wife was with 6 kids at home. And she had to go to Kansas City. So the oldest stayed home alone, the 14-year-old. And then she drove with 5 kids to Kansas City by herself.
Dang.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
You know?
She got the magic school bus going on.
She's got the
over
magic
here.
school bus, literally. Yeah. I was following her stories and she's like, I'm here on the bus with 5 kids. You know, it's not easy.
Yeah.
Especially when you got like 8-year-olds, 7-year-olds, their energy level is through the roof.
Yeah, I bet.
Through the roof. If you don't have activities, a pool, a space for them to run and get that energy out, good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck sleeping.
That's also why I want to get like land.
Yes.
That's like my main priority. I don't want to live in the city. I don't want to live where there's too much like things going on. I want my kids to be able to ride bikes and scrape their knee, you know? I want acres of land, and that's primarily why I am so focused on working now, because when I do settle down with that man,
Yeah.
it's like, hey, I have built all of this in the process of waiting for you, and now that we're unified, this is what I built. This is what I can give you right now.
That's
And
beautiful. Because
yeah.
most women come broken.
Yeah, I think we're all a little broken, but it's what we do with that.
What I mean is they come broken with the expectation of a man fixing them.
Oh yeah, that's no.
That's what I
bueno.
mean. No, right?
Yeah.
We all come broken, but I think the understanding is that the healing comes from us,
So,
right?
yeah.
From within. And I think you get that perfectly because it's exactly what you said, right? This is me. This is what I got. So what I bring to the table is this,
Yeah.
right? What do you bring to the table?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I think I've talked to enough people where I know that 7's a lot, or I know that a lot
it's
of
crazy.
kids are
It's a crazy
big,
number.
Big ask of
Yeah.
someone. And I think that's also where I'm kind of getting this from, because I don't expect you to just be like, okay, like I got to provide for everything, you know? Like I work too.
Yeah. What ends up happening, what my friend was telling me, is that the older kids end up growing up too fast. Because they end up having to take care of their siblings.
Yeah.
That's really what happens, you know? So the oldest 2 or 3 really grow up really fast
Yeah.
because they have to become, second parents. So it's like, it's good and bad, because one, you're teaching them young, good values, good morals, how to care for others, how to be a good parent, right? But in a way, you're diminishing their childhood.
That's true. Unless you have like more of a village to take care of them. It says it takes a village to raise a child.
100%.
Right? I do believe that I have a good village.
Okay.
Yeah.
That helps.
It does. I know it does.
It helps.
I can only imagine how scared and alone like people must feel when they don't have that village or community that helps them. But I'm pretty secure in knowing that like I have good family that will make sure that we're okay.
They had their first kid at 23.
That's a good age.
Yeah, 23. I think
good
he was
age.
24 and she was 23.
Okay. Were they focused?
Yeah, they are also very religious people,
Okay.
and they want to start early.
Yeah. Okay. That's amazing.
No. You're born when? 04?
Oh, 3.
03. Wow.
Yeah.
I love meeting people who were born after 9/11. Yeah, I do.
Okay, why that specific event though?
Because that was there was a monumental shift in America from pre 9/11 to after, right? Before that, there was no TSA. You go in the airport, you go right to the gate, bring whatever you want. You know, the security level was like going into a train or a subway. It was very minimal. Yeah. I also feel like things were less connected. The internet wasn't what it was. It really began around that time also. 01, 02, 03. It was a much, much different time. There weren't as many computer chips in cars. There weren't many computer chips at all. Cell phones were flip phones, you know? There was no smartphone. So it was really an entirely different world, an entirely different generation.
So what do you think the difference or the primary differences were from back when they didn't have as much technology to now?
We had to be more of your word. So for example, right? There was no way to communicate with you that I'm gonna be late. It was rare because not everyone had a cell phone. Either you had a beeper. I had a beeper for years.
A beeper?
I had a beeper.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Was it big?
It was a little one, about this big.
Okay.
Right? And it could read out full messages. That was the good thing.
That was like the special.
Yeah, it was a special.
Like, oh, yeah,
it could
like,
read
I'm
out
that
full
guy.
messages.
Like-
Yes, exactly. I was 13, 12. No, 12. 12, I had a beeper. 13, they gave me a cell phone.
Okay.
So I was 13 in 01. So also, you required a lot more pen and paper and maps.
Maps.
Yeah.
Wow.
MapQuest was huge.
Wow.
Where you went to the computer
Yeah.
and you typed in the directions and you printed out the directions. And you would have to read them as you're driving.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, oh damn.
Have you ever gotten lost?
Oh,
And then,
yeah, you have to ask someone.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, you pull over and you ask someone.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Whole different world.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can't even imagine it. You know?
No, you can't because you really pull out your
You
cell
have
phone.
to get the map and blow the dust off.
Exactly. Yeah, it was a real thing.
Sheesh. I wonder if they even sell maps in the gas station anymore. Probably not.
Probably
right?
not.
I don't think so.
Maybe as a relic.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Sheesh.
All right, so give me your 5-year plan. Where do you want to be by 26?
Having a family. I want to have a family by then. I want to be homeschooling my kids.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's my end goal. I don't care about this podcast stuff. Maybe if they ask me to do it once in a while, sure, I'll speak my mind. But I keep telling people, I'm like, you got a few years left of me, but once that time is up and once I get my man, we out. Like, you not gonna see us no more. I'm gonna get rid of my phone, get a house phone. You know what I'm saying?
Get a house phone. Look at you.
And yeah, you're not gonna see me no more.
You know, I think I highly doubt that.
Yeah.
I do. I think as you become a mother and as you have children, I think that's going to become your thing and that's what you'll talk about.
Yeah, it could be 100%.
Yeah.
I think that podcasting would definitely be the better route to take if I'm going to be homeschooling and stuff.
For sure.
Not IT, not any of this stuff.
Yeah.
Just because I could still help people while I'm doing it.
For sure.
And all of that. But it would definitely be a lot less, like you'll definitely just see me a lot less.
Why homeschooling?
This schooling system is not good. It doesn't teach the kids the truth. It doesn't teach the kids anything.
I would
that they
agree
really
with public
need.
school.
Yeah, I went to private school too, but there are also certain private schools that I could definitely admit people only send them there because they got kicked out of public school. So some private schools can be worse. However, I do know like certain trade schools are certain things where you can see what your kid.
Trade schools are the best.
Yeah.
I love trade schools.
Yeah, what your kid is passionate about
Yes.
and put them in the position where, okay, you can excel in this area.
Right. I don't think school's for everybody.
No, No,
it's
it's
truly
not.
not.
Yeah.
You know, go be a plumber, go be a electrician,
Yeah.
a mechanic.
Yeah. People
know,
overlook those
programmer.
jobs 100%.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be famous and known with everybody's eyes towards them, but that's not how the world really needs to operate.
No, it's not what it's about.
Yeah.
No. Like, going back to what we were saying before, me, for example, I want money and I want fame, quote unquote, so I can help other people.
Okay.
I don't really care it for myself. It's not about me. I have a great life. I've already built my life. Now I'm in service. You know, I think the more money I can make, the more I can help.
Yeah.
The more I can provide. My wife and I, we own a therapy agency for kids with autism, based out of New York. We have a contract with the Board of Education in New York City, and we do in-home and in-school behavior modifications, right? So I'm currently working on bringing that to Florida and expanding. But I want to be nationwide. You know, I want to help as many families as possible, help as many kids as I possibly can. And also with content, I want to help people shine their light, you know, help others see what needs to be seen from that person, you know, and I think podcasting and content creation is the best way to do that.
Yeah, especially because it's so trending now.
Exactly.
Podcasting. How long did it take you to propose to your wife?
So I've known my wife since I was 10 years old.
Wow. Oh.
We met in the 5th grade.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yes, we met in the 5th grade.
Okay.
So I've known her for 27 years.
Jeez.
Yeah. I'm 37. I've known her for 27 years. We started dating. We had a fling at like 15.
Okay.
And then we started dating officially at 18.
Okay.
It took me 10 years to get married.
After knowing her?
After dating.
Okay.
So we got married at 28.
28. Okay.
I proposed. I was 25, she was 24.
Okay.
So it took me 7 years to actually propose.
Okay. How do you know as a man when that woman is the one?
That's a great question. I think it's a different answer for every man. But for me, I was looking for someone that I can build with, someone that I can create with. That would be life, companies, memories. You know, I'm all about creation. I love to create. I love to bring ideas to life. And she's someone that has my back no matter what.
Okay.
You know, she's someone that may not understand what I'm seeing, but she's there for the ride and she'll back me up on it.
Okay.
You know, so we really support each other. We really are there for each other, even if we don't get it. And I've always known from the beginning that I met her. I've always known that she's the only woman I ever wanted to have kids with.
Oh.
You know, I just knew that she was going to be the mother of my kids, even if we weren't together forever.
Yeah.
But I knew that her and I were going to have kids together.
It's very poetic.
Thank you.
Yeah. What are some characteristics that she possesses that enabled your mind to shift that way, to say, this is the mother of my kids?
she's a really, really caring and loving person. And believe it or not, she has really, really shitty parents. Her mom is much better today. I'll give her the credit. She's much, much better today. Her father is a piece of shit. So she understands the value of being a good parent because she lacked it. So she really embodies, she's an incredible mother. She really is. She's an incredible, incredible mother. And I've always felt that. And I think because her and my mother happen to be very similar. They're both Virgos. They're very similar.
Oh, they're both what?
They're both Virgos.
Oh, okay.
They're both in September. So they're very, very similar. And my mother is very loving and very nurturing. So I think I found that in Daniela, and it just captivated me.
Okay.
Good question.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What do you look for in a future husband?
God first.
Yeah.
I think that's number one. Then after that, it's a few things. Emotional intelligence, being able to lead a situation, though he might not know what to do, he still knows how to engage with certain problems. Also knowing when to say you're wrong sometimes. I'm not going to shame you for it or anything.
Right.
It's just about understanding, about, talking things through. And also understanding that women are emotional. So sometimes, even though I'm not going to ever make an excuse for not thinking logically, sometimes you're going to just be a little bit more logical.
Especially pregnant women. If you want to have 7 kids, he needs to have that understanding.
Right? And that's why you
gotta have that understanding.
I think it's all of those things. I do, want to be attracted to him as well.
Helps.
Definitely helps.
Yeah.
That's what's going to get these kids going.
Exactly.
But loyalty, respect, it's these things, the fruits of the spirit.
Yeah.
It's all of these things, but God first. When you have the fear of God, it just lays the platform down for a lot of things. They say a man who does not fear God is a god of himself. And that is a man that I would be scared of laying my life down for.
Man, I'm processing what you just said, and what came to mind was like the greed of money, right? Making money your god.
Yeah.
Right? And just not having the awareness to not follow 2 gods, right? Understand that you can't serve 2 masters.
Yeah. And I think that a lot of people idolize many things that they don't even realize. Self above all, for sure. But even if it's not money, sometimes people idolize just like the things that, their habits, bad habits, or
Give me an example.
like eating bad. They don't realize.
Food, yes.
Yeah, food. Or anything that does not.
Addictions, right?
Yeah, it would be addiction, something that you
Gambling,
prioritize.
drugs, alcohol, sex, porn.
And sometimes it can even be things that we think is good for us, but we intake too much. They say anything, when you take it too much is a bad thing. And sometimes that could be very, very true.
Yeah.
So I think that, we need to look at everything but money is a big thing. Super big thing. People will do a lot for money.
A lot.
Yeah.
They'd kill.
Yeah. Which actually is crazy because I was just having this conversation with someone and we were talking about OnlyFans, right?
I was just going to get into that topic with you. Let's go.
Yeah. We were talking about that and they kind of mentioned like, hey, Saf, like, OnlyFans was not like primarily meant for
It was not.
porn and
It was
all
not
these things.
designed for that. No.
So I have a question for you. Say you were still in the dating game, hypothetically.
Me, okay?
Yeah. And a woman that you start talking to says, like, hey, you know, she's great and whatever the case may be. But she says, I have OnlyFans, but it's not for like sexual stuff. Like I'm sewing or something. Would that still give you a preconceived notion of like a negative one?
That's a really good question. Okay. I think it depends on who this woman is, right? I think it starts there. Let's go deeper.
Okay.
Even if she was doing sexual content,
Okay.
okay? Why are you doing this content? That would be my first question.
Okay.
Okay? Are you struggling in life and you're trying to, you know, pull your way out?
Okay. Would that be an excuse for you?
Maybe, yes. If you're doing this for fun and attention and you're enjoying yourself and you're playing with men and you're having sex and you're having fun, that woman might not be for me, right? But do you, right? Have fun. But if you're doing this as a means to an end, where you're trying to make some money, you're putting food on the table, and this just so happens to be where you've fallen in life, I think there's redemption there.
Okay. I could agree to disagree. Only because from my perspective, I've been where I couldn't put food on my own table, but I was still able to find other ways to make money, selling shoes or doing something that it may not have been fast money.
No, I agree with you, which is why it requires redemption,
Okay.
right?
Makes sense.
Because you've fallen.
Yeah.
You know, you've decided to trade your body for money. You've decided to trade your dignity for money.
Yeah.
Forget your body, right? It's really your dignity and your name and your self-worth, right? But for some women, I don't think it's the end all be all.
Okay.
For a lot of them, it is. For a lot of them, you know, like they're about that life, you know? They belong to the streets. But there's a lot of, there's a section of women who are really just trying to, you know, they fell for the trend, right?
Okay.
They see all these girls making hundreds of millions of dollars. I think it was some crazy number. I think the top OnlyFans model made like 93 million, some crazy
Yeah,
number
that's
like that.
crazy.
You know what I
That's
mean?
a lot.
A lot of money,
Yeah.
right? So women see that. And they go, hey, maybe I can get a little slice of that.
Yeah.
You know, I can understand that thinking. I really can, especially if you're a good-looking woman, right? And you're struggling and you need some food. I get it. It's taking the easy way out. I agree with you, but some do.
Yeah.
I do think there could be some redemption there. But is that to say that girls that do sexual content can't be married and have a husband? No, they sure
not at
can.
all, of course.
They sure can. I'll tell you a story. I know a porn star, and I met her through my, at the time, 3-year-old son.
What?
Exactly.
Wait, what?
So my 3-year-old son at the time, 2 years ago,
Okay.
went to a daycare and had a friend. The friend's mom was a
Who's
porn
the
star.
porn star?
And she's been to my house. She's been to my kid's birthday party. And I mean, she's not an OnlyFans girl. She's a legit porn star.
Yeah.
Right? She works for these big name brands, you know? And her husband is her manager.
He pimping. For sure.
And they have, I think, 2 or 3 kids now together. And she's active.
Wow.
That's her life. So she does, you know? And when we first found out, everybody in the school found out. It was a thing. Like, it was like wildfire, you know? And I just feel for that child. He's gonna get older. He's gonna be 12, 13, and kids are gonna find his mom online, you know? She may not care, clearly. It's her life. She's pretty popular. She's pretty famous, which is why I think it spread so fast. I think a lot of the husbands recognized her.
Oh,
is what I think happened.
God damn.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
So she lives her life, and power to her. You know, I'm not here to judge, but I do feel bad for the kid. Especially being, you know, a male. You're gonna have kids talk shit, you know?
Oh, yeah, for sure. But won't you think that even in the redemption scenario that you mentioned, people could still like Google paste your face and still find those pictures?
Oh, for sure.
So you would still, even in that situation, have that risk.
Yeah, 100%. I think, me personally, I would walk into that situation understanding everything that comes with it.
Yeah.
Right?
It's good,
and then
though,
it's
that
my
you
choice to make a decision if I agree with that, if I want that in my life or not.
Right.
Do I love this person enough that that's going to be okay for me? That's really the question that you have to answer, right? How do you feel about this person? Do you want to share the rest of your life with this person, knowing that they used to do this?
And that they could come back to it or try to.
Yeah.
Because once people get comfortable with doing something, it's easier to go back to it.
Especially if you don't provide,
Yeah.
right?
That's
As a
facts.
man,
Yeah. That's a
right?
fact.
If you're not providing and she gets hungry,
She gonna eat.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I think also that hunger is in many ways, right? It could be a sexual hunger because she's got some experience, right?
Yeah.
She's had some probably really good sex. And if you can't keep her happy, satisfied, fed, and, you know, pampered, you might lose her.
Would you ever be with, like, in your single stage, would you ever have been with someone with kids?
I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did that work out for you?
Little weird.
Why?
Because as much as you want to care, it's hard to.
About the kids or the
Yeah,
person?
about the kid,
Oh, got you.
right? I think so. Let me open up a little bit to you, okay?
Okay.
My wife and I have been together for 19 years, okay? I've done a lot of cheating in our 19 years together. So a lot of these relationships that I've had were things that to me were never going to go anywhere. You know, they were never relationships that I looked to foster. It was things that I got into because, you know, I was in a different part of my life where I seeked pleasure over service, over the truth, you know, over I guess reality. So yeah, so I've actually been with a lot of women that had kids. But it was never in a situation where I was looking to be with them permanently.
Yeah. Has your wife ever threatened or tried to leave because of this?
Oh yeah. Yeah. We've almost gotten divorced like 2 or 3 times.
Okay.
Yeah.
After like the first time, what kind of made you go back and do it again?
Things didn't change.
Pertaining to,
Both of us.
okay. So what was
Both of us. So I think I was, for a long time, I thought that she was the issue. And I thought that she had to make certain changes, and that if she made those changes, I'd be okay and I wouldn't cheat. But that was pure bullshit. I've recently, in the past couple years, I've come to the realization that I'm the one that needed to change. That she wasn't who I wanted her to be because I didn't make her feel safe.
Okay.
Because she clearly felt my energy being elsewhere and not focused on her.
Okay.
Right? So that realization really changed me.
Yeah.
Because as much as I wanted it to start with her, nah, it starts with me.
It's always a amazing thing to know when to stop pointing the finger and start pointing the thumb.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I really had to realize that everything that I've been doing and trying to justify it as, oh, I'm doing this because she's like this, or I'm doing this because she doesn't do this, right? No, she's doing this because you're doing this, right? Once I eventually came to my truth, once I eventually realized that the change must occur in me first, for me to show that I can be trustworthy, right? That I can be trusted. Then she'll start feeling comfortable and feeling safe, and then she'll open up, and then she'll be the person that I've always wanted her to be.
And have you guys reached that point yet?
We are very close.
Okay.
We are very, very close. We are closer than we've ever been before.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good. How long do you think that it takes for someone to heal from that kind of, I guess, trauma?
You know, that's a really good question, because healing can occur like this.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
The moment you choose, that's when it occurs. We accept what we choose. The moment we don't choose that anymore, we no longer accept it. Yeah. And then change can occur. But for a lot of people, they can't let go.
Yeah.
So it takes a lot of time to be okay with the idea of the change. So it takes them time.
I think it's also a daily thing too, probably.
What do you mean?
Like trust is a daily
yes.
battle you have to choose every day.
But the energy of the change can be felt instantly. Because she told me, maybe like a week into it, she goes, "You're different. Your energy is different. You know, I can feel that you're more committed. I can feel that you are here."
Yeah.
You know, so just me completely breaking ties from all other distractions and all other things that were taking my energy away, right? She can automatically feel that and see the difference.
Okay.
Even though I agree with you, trust is a daily thing, right? Rent is due every day.
What is your, what was your trigger that you were like, all right, this is the time that I need to stop? Like what made you come to that realization?
Several things.
Okay.
I have 2 boys, right? I have a 5-year-old. He's very smart, very observant, very, very, very perceptive. I don't want my boys to fall in the same pattern that their dad fell in, right? I want to raise good, decent, honest men that are not going to lie, that are not going to cheat. that are going to be able to say that I'm not happy, let's break up, right? And not create a scenario where you're hurting people.
Yeah.
You know, that was really one. And two, I was unhappy. You know, I felt like my marriage wasn't progressing. I felt like we were stuck, which we were, you know, me stuck in my way, her stuck in her way, and we weren't getting anywhere. It's either we fix this or we get a divorce, you know? And I always had this stupid idea that by telling her that I'm cheating, she's gonna change, right? I had this idea where like, maybe she'll wake up, right? Maybe she'll say, oh, okay, that's what he likes, that's what he wants, and magically change. You know, very, very naive, immature thinking of me. To really think that life works that way. That doesn't. You know, she will not be any of that unless she's comfortable, unless she trusts me, unless she feels that I'm all there and all in. You know?
What were you looking for?
It's a great question. I was looking for attention, appreciation, to be number one, to be valued. You know, I think after you have kids, as a man, you get put in the back burner. And I think it's very difficult navigating that within a marriage. Because kids come first, right? And you both work, you're both exhausted, you have 2 kids, and you have karate, and you have soccer, and you have after school, and you have swimming, and you have this, and you have that, you know? You're exhausted. The little time that you have, you want that to yourself, right? You don't really want to be sharing that time. But you got to find a way to keep your marriage alive. And like, I think that's where date night comes in, right? Even at home, date night at home, you know, make a nice meal, cook, sit at the table, eat together, have a nice conversation, you know? Weekly, monthly date nights of us going out, having several planned trips a year, just me and her, you know, without the kids. It's really important to prioritize your marriage. I think one thing I learned is that people get married and they feel like, okay, I'm married, I got you now.
Yeah.
I don't got to put the effort in anymore.
There's no more pursuit.
Exactly. And that's so wrong. I think that's the biggest mistake that married people make. You know, because I don't care if you're married 50 years. Everybody wants to be pursued. Everyone wants to feel wanted, you know? And I think that's why you get married. So you can have someone that's gonna want you forever and make you feel wanted always, right? So by cheating, I wasn't making her feel wanted. Therefore, she couldn't make me feel wanted, which all I wanted was to be wanted by her.
That's crazy. It's like a cat and mouse
Yeah,
thing.
it's a loop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I learned is the game should never stop. But that's also
Correct.
why your kids learn the game too. They see mom getting chased by dad across the kitchen, you know, things like that. It's
Yes.
like, that's how kids learn the game.
Correct.
So it should always be like that. 100%.
Yes, and being loving and not really what a rule that we have is that if we argue in front of the kids, we make up in front of the kids.
I love that.
Yes.
I love that. That's a goal right
Because it's unrealistic to say you're not gonna argue. That's bullshit.
there. Yeah.
You're married for
100%.
20 years, you're gonna fucking
Yeah.
argue, especially in front of the kids. Right? But you gotta make up in front of the kids. So they see that that life is a duality, right? You're gonna have disagreements, but you gotta come to an understanding and come back together and move on,
Yeah.
you know?
I love that. So, as a woman asking a man, what are some things that I should do in my future relationships that I should encourage or put, or I guess add to a man feeling that appreciation, feeling wanted?
I think men are very simple.
Okay.
Men are very simple. We want a caring, loving wife, a home-cooked meal, and a woman that is able to put herself and family first. I think it's very important, right? It kind of ties in with what we're saying, right? A lot of women aren't very well put together at home.
Yeah.
They're in slacks, they're comfortable, they're this, they're that, right? And I think, not every day, but I think you should also look your best at home. I think there should be a difference between how you go to sleep and how you walk around the home every day.
Okay.
You know, I think that's part of the chase, right? If clearly beauty's not everything, but if I stop being attracted to you, that can create problems.
Yeah, I agree.
You know? So I think,
It's like when people lose their self with weight too.
yeah,
Yeah, it's a big thing.
it's huge.
It's actually it confuses me to think that a lot of married couples, they'll just lose themselves, gain a whole bunch of weight, and then when they get divorced because of the lack of attraction, then it's like they go to the gym and get themselves ready again as like type of revenge. I've never agreed with that, because I'm like, why didn't you do that from the jump? It does not make sense.
It's not really revenge. It's because that's what it took for them to wake up.
Yeah.
Losing that person is what took them to wake up,
Dang.
which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
Why can't you wake up with that person right next to you,
Right.
right?
Right.
So to your point, my wife suffered with a lot of weight issue. Both kids really fucked her up. And she blew up to over 300 pounds both times that she gave birth. And it was just a struggle to lose weight. She's finally at a great place. She's lost about 90 pounds.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. And she is working her way to getting her body back. So I understand that fully.
Yeah, I think
You
kids
know?
is a different story.
It's crazy
Yeah.
what kids do to a woman's body.
Yeah.
You
it
know?
is.
The hormonal fluctuation is insane.
Yeah.
Because a woman goes from being normal to having these crazy amount of hormones over 10 months just put into her body.
Yeah.
And then the kid comes out. And then you got to flush all those hormones out. So it's another 6 months of you getting back to yourself. It's crazy. Like, witnessing it, I would never want to go through it. As she was pregnant, I was thankful every single day that it was her and not me. Every single day. I am so thankful for you that you get to go through this and I don't. Because I see how crazy it is.
Yeah, that's right.
And I was not designed for that.
Yeah. And
Literally.
the pain too, the labor.
Oh my God.
Goodness.
And my poor wife, like, both of our kids drained her so much. She slept like 4 months out of the 9 months.
Hibernation season. It's hibernating season.
She just
Facts.
slept because
Yeah.
those kids drained her energy. You're building life,
Yeah.
you know? It takes a lot out of you. And you lose yourself a little bit,
Yeah.
you know? And for a woman, it's very difficult to come back and find yourself after giving birth and having to breastfeed and having to be up all night. And now you got a baby that depends on you 24/7, right? You completely forget yourself. which is why you must stay true to yourself and remember who you are and come back to yourself. Right? You can't allow these episodes, these growth moments of life make you lose who you are. Marriage, having kids, you can't lose yourself in these. You gotta stay true to who you are, your foundation, and what you believe you bring to this to life, to the table, to this marriage. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What do you think women should look for in a man? Husband and father.
I think a big one is listening. I think listening is underrated. I think men are problem solvers, right? And we want to solve everyone's problem. I think half of men and women's problem is that men want to solve the woman's problem when the woman just wants the man to listen. I think listening is huge.
Yeah.
Listening and not wanting to do anything and just being there for her, right? Like, she got into a fight with her girlfriend, right? And she just wants to vent, right? She just wants to bitch. Like, let her go at it, you know? Yeah. I'll get up, I'll make her some tea, you know? I'll encourage it, you know? Get you a tissue box.
Did you win though?
Right? Like what that bitch say? You know what I mean? Like, get in, you know, become a part of it. A lot of men don't want to be bothered by these little conversations, right? And like, for a lot of women, that's foreplay. You know? It's what men don't understand. For a lot of women, you listening, you being there for them, that's foreplay. That will get you late at night, you know?
Yeah.
Because she'll remember that. Yeah. You know, he was there for me. You know, he let me vent. He let me listen. He gave me a shoulder to cry on, you know? Listening is a very good one, but also communication. Communication is key. I think listening is part of that, but I think communication is key. Expressing your wants, expressing your needs, and being able to communicate your thoughts clearly. So a man that listens, a man that communicates, a man that speaks the truth. I do think all these things are linked to being a godly man.
Yeah.
Right? I think we could both agree that that's the foundation. But I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at those three.
Okay.
Listening, communication, and what's the third one? I don't remember. But yeah, whatever I said previously.
Yes. Do you believe in the saying you should not go to bed mad?
Yes and no.
Okay. Because I feel like it gets complicated.
It gets very complicated.
Yeah.
So we've tried doing that. We've tried.
Yeah.
Doesn't always work.
Yeah.
Doesn't always work.
Makes sense.
There are many times you go to bed mad.
Yeah.
And you wake up fuming. There's many times.
Just let it marinate a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. Yeah, like you try to sleep it off, but you don't.
Yeah.
You know, you're still mad in the morning. But going back to communication, I think you have to talk about it. Don't let it grow, right? Don't let it brew past that night. Deal with it. Because that's how you get resentful.
Yeah, that's true.
You get resentful, then you do stupid shit. It's all about compromising. Marriage is a give and take. You know? It's not about what you want or what I want. It's what could we agree on.
That's real.
Because a lot of fights come from, no, I see it this way. I want it this way. Especially with kids, right? Because she may have one view of how things are going to go, and I have a different view of how things are going to go. And if we don't communicate those views, we're going to clash.
Yeah.
So that's really key. I love how half this podcast is me asking you questions and the other half is you asking me questions.
Got into my, okay, let me.
I love it.
You know, I got
no,
comfortable.
I felt it. And you're sitting in the proper chair too. So I let you take the reins, which was great. Tell me your dream. Okay. Bring the mic closer to you, please.
My dream.
Tell me your dream.
Well,
if you had a magic wand and you had a genie and a fairy godmother that can grant you your wish, what's your dream? What's your wish?
I want everyone to be saved. That would be my dream.
You want everyone to be saved, meaning like God, redemption, heaven.
Yes.
Is that what you mean?
100%. If I speak a little bit more like realistically, you're talking about realistically, right?
I'm talking about whatever your dream is.
That would definitely be my dream.
Whatever Sapphire's dream is.
I really want to choose the right person. I think that's real. I think that also goes hand in hand with one of my biggest fears. Trying to spend so much time talking and trying to vet people out and still ending up making the wrong decision when it comes to the person that I'm going to be laying my life down for.
The easiest way for you to make this decision is to continuously work on you.
Yeah.
That's it.
There's also been some great people who still end up choosing the wrong person, though.
What made them the wrong person?
That's a good question. I do believe one thing is probably the ignoring of the red flags or the things that they see might be a problem in the future because they love them. For example, kind of what we were talking about on the might be able to accept this if I love you this much.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
It goes hand in hand with that. Some things you might not see as big of a problem as it may turn out to be later in the future.
Right.
But because you're giving it passes now they're comfortable with it. Now they're okay with it. And now once you're locked in with them.
What's a red flag for you?
Oh, there's so many. there's so many.
Give me one that you saw in this person in the past that you realized after.
No, I was mostly speaking about other relationships. Like I've seen like great people get into relationships with like people who
So give me one huge red flag for you. That's a
Okay.
huge no-no.
Huge red flag. Pride.
Being too prideful.
Yeah. Not
So
not being
like
able
borderline like a narcissist.
Yeah. Just not taking accountability. I think that's the first thing that comes to my mind. Or like yeah. I think lying too, habitual liars. And I will say this, I'll open up too. When I was younger, I used to be a habitual liar. I used to lie a lot. But that doesn't get you anywhere. The truth will always come out. I've learned that. It doesn't matter if it takes weeks, months, years.
I do think that probably in your situation, I think you were more surviving than lying.
I was
know what
in
I mean?
survival mode. But it also takes it takes a while for you to get out of that habit too, because it took me a few friendships that I've lost because I was just scared, and
Yeah.
it just immediately, I just said whatever I thought was gonna save me.
Right.
So that was, yeah, I definitely will agree with you, but I also give it no excuse. So I learned pretty fast from that.
You're so wise at 21, Sapphire.
Man,
You really are.
it took a lot.
You
I
really
was
are.
over here fighting for my life.
Would you change anything in your past if you could?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You
Yeah.
know, a lot of people say, oh, it makes me who I am. Nah, I think there's a lot of things I could have experienced and been fine with. I definitely put myself in a lot of predicaments where I was like, yeah, I could have gone my whole life and been just
Without knowing
fine.
that.
Without knowing or doing that, yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like the honesty.
How about you?
Some things.
Okay.
I think there's like one or two things
Yeah, that's real.
that I wish that I could go back and change.
Mm-hmm.
That probably would have I'm not sure if I still would have been here today if I changed those two things.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But yeah,
That's real.
I would definitely want to know how that would have played out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That'll be interesting.
But my other version in the other multiverse got to play it out.
Yeah.
Do you believe in that?
Like another me, like a
Like
Spider-Verse.
every decision that you make or don't make splits into a different version of you.
That would be interesting, but I would definitely want to live that life. Just see how that goes. I don't know why I'm stuck here. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I believe that, but that would definitely go into faith, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought if what you said is true and you really want everyone to be saved, have you thought about becoming a disciple? An actual disciple?
What is an actual disciple for you?
So an actual disciple is someone who no longer lives for themselves, like a Mother Teresa.
Okay.
Someone who has completely devoted their lives to other people, like the Pope.
Yeah.
Well, what the Pope's supposed to mean, right? Someone who is who is here to spread the word,
Yeah.
who is here to save others, who is here to make sure that everyone gets saved. No pressure. I'm just
Yeah. No, that's a great question. I think that whatever God calls me to do, I want to fulfill that. If He calls me to do that, I will ask Him for confirmation, and then I will do it.
I like that.
Yeah. But when it comes to, what I said previously, I kind of want to change my answer on that, because
for it.
when you say, what is your dream? And I say, save everyone, I kind of got like myself telling me, okay, but it starts with you, right? And so I think that it kind of goes to when people are like, why are there so many homeless people? Why are there so much bad in the world and stuff like that? It's like, well, that's what we are put on this earth for.
That's their path.
To make a difference.
Yeah.
To save just one or two people at a time and progress from there. And I think it's important to understand that we do have a lot more power than we think we do.
Oh, yeah. Did you know that the higher you vibrate, that vibrational frequency helps millions of people in the world? Just by you vibrating at a high frequency.
It makes sense. That's why when people say, like, your smile means so much more than you think.
Correct.
Yeah.
Or you're magnetic, or you light up the world.
Yeah.
You know?
That's amazing. It's always good to protect the light that you hold.
100%.
Yeah.
This little light of mine.
I'm gonna let it shine. I love that song.
Sapphire, you're an incredible human being.
As are you. I'm glad we had this conversation.
Me too. I cannot wait to see what you do. I want to hear about you in 5 years with 7 kids.
It's gonna take a little more than 5 years.
I know. And I wish you nothing but the best.
You as well.
You're a great person. I can see that you touch everyone that you come in contact to very positively. Mm. Continue to be this light. Continue to have faith. And God will bless you.
God bless you too. Thank you.
Thank you. Look at that camera. Let everybody know where they can find you.
Sure. I'm Sapphire Achilles. I can be found on Sapphire Achilles or the Achilles Heel podcast. Yep, that's it.
Guys, incredible conversation from a 21-year-old. It just shows you that it doesn't really matter the age, doesn't really matter your background. You can make a decision and you can choose to be of God. You can choose to be of faith. You can choose to be a leader. You can choose to be of service. Like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, and we'll see you guys next time.